I suppose we should shuffle along here to the last division, the Atlantic Division. To follow precedent, we'll start again at the bottom. Who do we have taking up the rear here?
Well, it pains me to do this, but every year I believe in the Buffalo Sabres and they crash and burn. So this year, we're going to stick them at the bottom because they have proven to be a disappointing squad. Sorry, Buffalo, but maybe this will spur you on to greater things.
Well, maybe let's begin between the pipes. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had a down year last year. Hopefully he can recover his form. They did bring in Alex Lyon and Alexander Georgiev.
Of course, Devin Levi is still in the system as well, and there was a lot of promise shown by him a few years ago, and he's kind of flamed out since then. Still a young goalie, though, and they take time.
Yeah, they do. He's got a pretty decent defense core in front of him, obviously headed up by Rasmus Dahlin. He is a bona fide number one defenseman. They brought in Bowen Byram last season. Still, first overall pick Owen Power is still growing into his shoes a little bit. Maybe he can take a step forward this year, and Michael Kesselring might be able to offer something. So I think there is room for growth for this D-core, but they really got to prove it.
Yeah, they don't have that steadying veteran presence back there, but so much potential. And the same could be said for the forward group. A lot of potential.
I do love Tage Thompson. I think he is a star. I still think he's going to get 40 goals this year, and he will make the American team, the American Olympic team. But after him, it really thins out.
Yeah, I think that one guy they really need a lot from is their new second centerman, Josh Norris.
Yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately, the story of his career has been injuries. And if he could be healthy, maybe Buffalo exceeds expectations, but I wouldn't bet any money on it.
I do like the season that they got out of Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, wow, what a great acquisition he was from the Oilers. And they've got another guy who can play some center, he can play some wing. He tore it up in the AHL last year, Yuri Kulik. He's my breakout candidate in Buffalo. And they got a bunch of other young wingers, guys like Josh Doan, Jack Quinn, Zach Benson. These are all guys who have a lot of potential, but that's always been the story in Buffalo, unrealized potential.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this team really needs to all sort of come on board at the same time if this team has a chance of being successful.
They've missed the playoffs 14 years in a row. We'll find out if it'll be 15.
Well, let's shift from a perennial loser to a team that was not used to losing, but they got a taste of it last year, the Boston Bruins. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Will they be able to climb out of the cellar this year?
They don't really have the guns they used to have, especially at the center position. I mean, Elias Lindholm, he's no spring chicken anymore. I don't think Pavel Zacha can really drive play on his own. And Casey Middlestad, he's an okay third-line center, but just as a 1-2-3 punch, this is not really what is going to lead to success.
They still have Pasta, David
Absolutely.
Pasternak, who fit in nicely with Morgan Geekie at his side. They did bring in Victor Arvidsson, Tanner Janot.
That's a terrible contract. What are they thinking?
Yeah,
about that one?
it just
5
doesn't-
years for this guy. What has he done? He's had one semi-decent year, and he's been paid for it ever since.
They are really going to struggle to put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
On a brighter note, though, you got to remember last year, almost everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm both on the shelf for extended periods. And of course, the Jeremy Swayman holdout really kind of crashed his season. So I think this year, if you have those pieces in place, they're a lot more competitive.
Yes, they certainly need a big bounce back year from Jeremy Swayman. They also have Corpusalo backing him up.
That's not a bad 1-2 punch. A couple younger players who might be able to contribute. Mason Lohrei. He looks like he might get a look playing next to Charlie McAvoy. Showed a lot of promise, but he's also had a lot of defensive problems. Minus 43 last season.
Ooh.
I think being paired with McAvoy should bring that number to a more tolerable, maybe minus 10, hopefully. But for him, he does create some offense from the back end. Young defensemen take a while to develop, as we always say. So if he takes a step forward, maybe Boston's a little more competitive.
They still have Big Z back there.
Yeah, overrated.
Not Zadino, it's Zadorov.
Yeah, I don't think he's a top four defender. Miscast. If he's your number 6 or 7, fine. But yeah, that's one of the problems in Boston, I think.
It looks like head coach Marco Sturm, who's entering into his first season, has his work cut out for him.
Okay, well, let's scoot on over here to Motor City. The Yzerplan is in full swing. Lots of questions. Hard questions for Stevie Y entering this year. His team has missed the playoffs, I believe, 9 years in a row. this season? Do we think they're going to have a different fate?
I think it's more of the same. It's such a hard division. I don't think they've gotten better than, they're not going to surpass any of the teams they were behind last year. I mean, I think the biggest issue has got to be that defense core. Once you get past Moritz Seider, there's not a lot to get excited about on that blue line.
Yeah, Sherratt, Justin Hall, Eric Gustafsson. There's not a lot there.
I mean, Simon Edvinsson, still young, getting better. That could be one bright spot. They do have Sandin Pellikka, who is a great prospect, but he's probably not quite ready to pitch in at the NHL level yet.
Now, they do have some quality forwards, though.
They do. I mean, Lucas Raymond really emerged as an elite playmaker last year. Dylan Larkin is still a very good player. Patrick Kane had a pretty good year.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, his talent is undeniable. He's got some staying power for sure. And Alex DeBrincat, I mean, the guy can certainly still pop the puck.
He's a sniper.
39 goals last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I actually think their first power play unit could be quite good.
Yep, that's fair.
Between the pipes, though, what do we think? I mean, John Gibson has been brought in. He's never really emerged as that sort of elite goaltender we thought he could have been early in his career. And I think his work is going to be cut out for him, especially behind that questionable defense core.
Yeah, well, he was used to that in Anaheim for much of his career. It's funny, as the Ducks get better, they ship him out, and now he's back on another kind of floundering franchise. So I kind of feel bad for John Gibson, but maybe a change of scenery will do him good. I know that Detroit has pinned a lot on him and hoping he can bring them back to the playoffs.
Let's continue on with the Montreal Canadiens. Really nice surprise. They made the playoffs last year. Mark, I know you're a big fan. What do you think?
Well, I know that a lot of people think, oh, they made the playoffs. They're going to be better this year because, it's a young team in progress, blah, blah, blah. But it's still a very tough division. And they actually got younger this offseason. There could be some growing pains in Montreal, even though they will be an exciting team to watch.
I really love that first line they have.
Absolutely. I mean, Nick Suzuki coming off a great year there with 90 points. I wonder what his ceiling is. Cole Caulfield, always the goal scorer, and Uri Slafkovsky. I mean, he's going to take another step forward this year as well. So watch out for that top unit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if you look at the numbers last year, I think they were the number one scoring line at 5-on-5. And they got better as the year went along. And a big part of that was Uri Slafkovsky. A bit of a slow start to his last two seasons, but he's been dynamite down the stretch. Hopefully this year he can put it together for a full 82 games.
And Mark, lots of questions about that second line, especially Kirby Dach centering it.
Yeah, Kirby Dach, another knee injury he's coming back from. They're saying this year that he trained a lot harder. He's in better shape than he was at this time last year. Again, though, he's not really played a lot of center. And when he has, he's really struggled to win faceoffs.
Is this the last year for Patrick Laine?
I would hope so. I mean, Mark and I are both quite familiar with him as a player. Great
maddening
shot.
Player.
Yeah, maddening player. Very, very frustrating. So much talent. Often doesn't make the best decisions on the ice, I think is a nice way to put it.
But the big story in Montreal is the rookie, Ivan Demidov.
Yeah, no, everybody in Montreal is stoked to see what he can do. I'm curious to see if that second line flounders to begin. Did they try moving him up to the first line? Did they shake things up? What do they do? Because we don't want him stuck with the line that's failing. And Laine and Dach are both big question marks.
Sure. I mean, they brought in Zach Bolduc. He can bolster some of that play. He's a physical presence back there. And Montreal's a smaller team. They might need him.
Yeah, he plays big. And I think that's the kind of guy you might have move into the second line role if Laine is not getting it done.
Another big story, we talked about this a little bit in the summer, behind superstar Lane Hudson. They bring in
Noah Dobson. Yes, an amazing acquisition, a right-handed defenseman.
Yeah, and that's what Montreal badly needed. The retirement of David Savard leaves a big hole on the right side. And Noah Dobson was the best right-handed defenseman on the market. They went out, they paid a price, 2 first-rounders, Emil Heineman, but this really solidifies things for them on the right side. And I think buys some time for prospect David Reinbacher.
They still have Mike Matheson, and I am very excited to see what can Lane Hudson do in his second season.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen so far, he's hungry. He's looked great in preseason. I think he can actually exceed 66 points and crack 70 this year.
Yeah, I mean, that honestly, that would not shock me. I think this kid is the real deal. Between the pipes, they're going back with Sam Montembeault. Mark, what's your opinion on this guy for this season?
I was not sold on Sam Montembeault in the early years, but he's been really good for the last 2 seasons. I think he's going to be really hungry this year. He wants a piece of that Team Canada action. Maybe this year he's not the third goalie. I think he'd like to get in there and play a game for Canada. So he's going to be hungry to prove that he belongs.
And backing him up, they have Jakub Dobeš.
Yeah, Dobeš was a real shot in the arm for this team in the second half
was.
last year. He was a big reason why they snuck into a playoff spot. He's looked good so far. If he does failed. They brought in Kaapo Kakkonen, who's a decent NHL, pro goalie, let's say. He played most of the year in the AHL, but that is nice organizational depth.
And nice prospect in Fowler.
Yeah, Jacob Fowler regarded one of the best goaltending prospects in hockey. Hopefully we don't have to see him this year.
So overall, what do you guys predict?
I mean, this team barely snuck into the playoffs last year. I think we'll see a little bit of improvement. I still think I'd put them on the bubble. I don't think they're guaranteed to make a playoff spot, but it's going to be exciting to see how this team can improve.
Yeah, I think the range of possibilities are quite extensive. It could be anywhere from the high 80s to cracking 100 points. I think that they probably find a way to sneak in there on the last week of the season, much like last year.
So next up, we have the up-and-coming Ottawa Senators. They made the playoffs. They faced the Toronto Maple Leafs. They flamed out in the first round, but it was an improvement over their past seasons. So what do we expect from this team this year?
Well, I think that we're going to see another step forward from this team, and most of that progress is going to come from within, with a lot of their young players improving. I want to highlight the acquisition of Dylan Cousins last year. I think that they got a great deal getting him from Buffalo, and he really solidifies that top six, especially down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, they had been dealing with Josh Norris and his injury, so there was so much uncertainty around the center position. They don't have to deal with that anymore. And you got to love Tim Stützle. Like, he is really a budding superstar, I would say. Claude Giroux adds a lot of veteran presence and sort of, face-offs and some of that savvy that you get from that. And, of course, Brady Tkachuk.
Yes.
Just, a big ball of hate.
And they also have David Perron. He's a veteran. I always think he's a really smart player out there.
I also like some of the youth that they have in their bottom six. You look at guys like Ridley Gregg, Shane Pinto. There's more than meets the eye to these guys.
And on defense, I am super excited about Jake Sanderson. Guys, last year he put up 57 points. What does he do for an encore?
Yeah, well, probably crack 60, especially if he's on PP1 for the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. I'm a little concerned about the depth beyond him. Artem Zub, solid defenseman, but, he's not knocking the socks off of anybody. Thomas Chabot, solid. Nick Jensen, kind of a middling guy. So I think that's one of the weak spots on this squad.
I did like the under-the-radar acquisition of Jordan Spence. I think there's some untapped potential there.
And how about their goaltending? It features Linus Ullmark.
Former Vezina winner. I've never been convinced that he's a Vezina caliber goalie. I think he's more a beneficiary of that great Boston team.
Yeah, but not a terrible option. And, he was serviceable last year, and we'll see if he can build on the team's success.
Oh, yeah, still an above-average NHL goaltender for sure.
Yeah. I think for Ottawa, we're hoping for some improvement. Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs, and maybe they can even win a round.
All right, next we have the top three of the Atlantic, and boy, did we ever argue about where to place these teams.
Yeah, well, I think the last-minute injury to Alexander Barkov knocks the Florida Panthers down a rung. Keep in mind also that Matthew Tkachuk is going to miss the first half of the year as well. So those are two of their best players.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the forward group, it's still going to be a tough group to play against. But that top-end talent, I think, is going to make it very difficult for them to be among the elite in this division. Still going to be a good team, just maybe not the best.
Yes, coming off back-to-back Stanley Cups, they've played a lot of hockey.
Absolutely. Like, there's going to be some tiredness going on. They still have Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, and Sam Reinhart. It's not a terrible top line. It's going to be tough to play against. Just not that pop you're hoping for.
Yeah, one of the luxuries that they had was Anton Lundell was a third-line centerman who is probably regarded as the best third-line centerman in hockey, who could probably shift into a higher position. And, well, he's going to get his chance. He's going to be bumped up, probably playing on the second line. Maybe he'll take over for Bennett on the first line if things don't go well there. So we're going to find out what he's made of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, full season of Brad Marchand with this team. That should be fun. We know he's got talent, and we know he's a bit of a disturber. This team still has quite a deep and talented D-core, though. That has not been phased by these injuries.
No, it has not. They have a lot of great two-way defensemen with Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, and Seth Jones.
Yeah, and, I think that a guy like Nico Mikkola is also really, really underrated. He was such a force in the playoffs last year. Bargain basement shopping is what most NHL champions need to do, and they dug in and found Jeff Petrie. I wonder if he's got anything left in the tank.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Between the pipes, Sergei Bobrovsky is back. Is he on the job this year?
I think he is, but he's going to be very busy.
Yeah, he's going to be
busy. They need
busy.
him this year.
And
they do.
He's played an awful lot of hockey, and he's no spring chicken either. So I don't know. I'm interested to see. This is a big challenge for this team. A lot of people thought, they're bringing the band back together. If they're 100% healthy, they are a favorite to win the Stanley Cup. But I'm not sure that's a certainty anymore. There's a lot of questions around this team.
You could make an argument, one more major injury, and they could be in a fight just to make into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, who's backing up Bobrovsky this year?
Yeah, Daniil Tarasov is now the new backup. Very unproven. So if Bobs were to go down for a period of time, things could get pretty dicey in Florida.
Okay, Jeffy, the time has come. We hemmed and hawed over who would be first and second in this division. After much deliberation, we decided that the Toronto Maple Leafs would be next. So, Jeffy, this is your team. What do you think?
Well, hey, I'm not too happy about that. But I totally get it. Losing Mitch Marner, 100-point scorer, that takes a big bite out of the Toronto Maple Leaf lineup.
And it's not just the scoring. I mean, he was one of their best penalty killers. He was an all-situations guy. And with him out, I mean, I know that they got Nicolas Roy back in the deal. That's going to solidify the center ice position. But still, you can't take a 100-point guy out of your lineup and not feel a bit of a sting.
No, there will be a bit of a sting, to be certain. But, of course, you still have Austin Matthews, one of the best goal scorers in the game. Willie Nylander, such a talented player and such a gamer. And I expect Matthew Nyes to really take a step forward into a more prominent role on this team this year.
Yeah, he'll be riding shotgun with Matthews, so that's going to be big. And Matthias Maselli brought in to bring in some more scoring punch on the wing. Let's see if he works out as a first liner.
I like that. They still got Johnny T, who gave them the hometown discount.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a big piece. He'll be a fixture on that first power play unit.
I like their bottom six. I feel like there are a lot more guys who play with grit and determination and
truculence.
Yes, exactly. As Pat Quinn used to like to say.
Brian Burke.
Oh, yes, the other angry Irishman, of course. I always get those guys mixed up.
But how about the defense core? We've often talked about how Toronto need to be tougher to play against on the back end. I think they are, but now I have the worry about, do they have enough puck movers?
And that's the thing. I think that this is kind of a playoff-style D just built for trench warfare. And the run-and-gun regular season hockey might be a little bit tricky for them. And that could lead to maybe a bit of a slow start.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps this is more of a team built for Craig Berube, though, than previous iterations of the Leafs have been. So maybe that could play well into his coaching style.
Yeah, they will not be going with 5 forwards. I'm really curious to see which D-man gets the job, or do they try a 5th forward?
I mean, I can't see any harm in giving Morgan Riley another crack at it, right?
Yeah, the one thing I worry about him is he doesn't really have the shot to keep defenses honest.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Yeah, interesting that the Leafs were able to sign Anthony Stolarz to such a sweetheart deal.
Great deal.
Yeah, amazing deal. This is one of the best goaltenders in the league. Like last year, he had an amazing save percentage. Was very good in the playoffs until he got knocked out by Sam Bennett. So this could be a big piece for the Leafs and could be a big part of their potential success.
And hopefully Joseph Wall can get back into the fold because having a nice 1-2 combo like that would make Toronto's goaltending super solid.
Yeah, he's taken a little bit of a break from the team. Hopefully he's okay. For insurance, the Maple Leafs brought back James Reimer.
How is he still in the league?
Well, he's been a solid backup here and there in the limited play that he has seen. But yeah, until Wall gets in, it'll be James Reimer. Interesting to see if he gets into any games and how he does.
Well, as a Leaf fan, I am super excited about this year, but let's be real. It all comes down to the playoffs. The Leafs managed to win 1 round last year. I'd love to see them make at least a conference final this year.
Yeah, so that brings us to the top of the Atlantic. I'm a little surprised that we're saying this, but there's certainly no slouches, and they have tons of talent. The Tampa Bay Lightning could be back at the top. Of course, led by their superstar, Nikita Kucherov. I think we all expect a big year from him.
Yeah, this guy is worth the price of admission, and he's not the only one. Braden Point, what an excellent player he is. Jake Getzel, wow, did he ever fit in well there? And Brendan Hagel also had a fantastic year.
90-point season. Who saw that coming? Especially a guy who gets almost no power play deployment.
Yeah, and, last year they brought in Yanni Gordon, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Didn't really serve them that well in the playoffs. However, they were facing the Florida Panthers, tough squad. And, of course, they still have Anthony Cirelli. So this team is not one without depth.
I've always been a big Nick Paul guy, too, and I think once the playoffs start, he always plays his best hockey.
And on defense, of course, it's anchored by Victor Hedman. And they brought back Ryan McDonough last year, and that worked out pretty well.
It did. He had a good season. Eric Chernak, another pretty solid defenseman. I'm not sure about their bottom pairing so much. I think it does tail off a bit there, but you can't have everything.
But in net,
Yeah, they've got everything. They've got one of the best in the business. Andrei Vasilevsky is back for yet another year in Tampa Bay, and maybe he refines his Vezina form this year. That could be part of the story of Tampa Bay ascending to the top of the division.
do they want to lighten his load a little bit in the regular season? Who are they running for backup there?
It seems like they should want to lighten his load. However, they haven't made any moves to facilitate that. Still running with Jonas Johansson. I don't really think this guy is an NHL goaltender. Is that safe to say? I mean, he's played all right at times.
You got to save money when you have some of these high-end stars, but yeah, if they could just find another $500,000 to get a more accomplished backup, that would really save Vasilevsky for the playoffs. That is one of the things that I think they could look into.
Certainly. They would be well served to give Vaz a little bit of a rest to keep him fresh for those playoff games.
And their bench boss is John Cooper. He's one of the best in the business. No doubt he'll have those guys playing well.
Yeah, I mean, not many runs left for this group. This could be a big opportunity for them.
Yeah, some weaknesses amongst their division rivals. Let's see if they can capitalize on that.